Hello, welcome to our discussions of Java. This time we're going to talk about the Java JDK. JDK stands for the Java Developer Kit. It's what Oracle provides for Java developers. It includes the compiler and the Java runtime and the Java virtual machine in it. Java Developer Kit. So as you can see here on my system, I have 3 JDKs installed. I have Java 8, also known as 1.8, a little confusing to Java newbies. The naming system here, Java 8, 1.8, Java 11, Java 12. They're all relatively recent versions of Java, but of course Java 12 is the most recent in this system. Java 11, though, is the latest of the long-term releases. So long-term releases is essentially the industry release of Java, the one that's guaranteed to be the most stable Java system. So before that, Java 1.8 was the long-term release of Java, and people are migrating to Java 11. So we also use Eclipse in our class for the integrated development environment, and Eclipse can only use one JDK at a time for a project. So how do we specify to Eclipse which JDK we want to use? We'll look at that next. I'm going to start Eclipse, and I'm going to give myself a brand new workspace. So when you give yourself a new workspace in Eclipse, and all I have to do is change the name, and it'll create the folder for it and everything. I'll launch it here. When you create a new workspace in Eclipse, it's a brand new workspace. So it starts out with its default settings, and you have to change them every time. Every time you have a new workspace, that is. So we'll do that. I'm going to pause the recording, and we'll resume when Eclipse has started. So my Eclipse has started, and my goal here is to specify that I want to use JDK 11 and not 8 or 12 that I also have installed here. So go to Windows Preferences, go to the Java section, open it up, and then go to Install JREs. And here we notice that Eclipse knows about one JDK that I have installed here, 12. So I'll add another one, and standard VM, and I need to traverse to the directory where I actually have the JDK installed. Now I've done this before, so actually right before recording this, so it's woken up already to where I have it installed. I take the defaults for my Java installation, except for I like to install it on the E drive here. So that's why we see program files Java. You'll probably see it on your C drive if you didn't change anything when you install your JDKs. Okay, so I want to let Eclipse know about JDK 11. I pick it, hit finish, and now this environment here, this workspace, knows about 2 JDKs. It's still picking JDK 12, but I'll just change that here. So now when I start a new Java project, it will pick JDK 11 as its default. So new Java project. I'll call it Show JDK. And notice, use execution environment JRE. It knows about it. It also knows about 12, but it wakes up with 11 because that's what I checked off in my overall project settings for installed JREs. Don't create the model. Open my perspective. And here we have a project that's all set up to use JDK 12. I'll create a new class for it. So I've created a new class and added a little bit of code here in main. Integer I equals new integer. And we see this underscore, this cross through here, and it's a warning. It's not an error. It's a warning. So it'll build, and let's see if I can get the warning to pop up. It's deprecated since version 9. So this structure that I've done here, and we'll explain what this is later, but integer I equals new integer here is deprecated since version 9 of Java. So it's saying when a computer program says something is deprecated, that means you're using a feature that's going away. So this syntax may go away in the future, or they're trying. It may also be saying you can do this, but we don't recommend it. So since it says it's deprecated since version 9, if we go back to Java JDK 8, that warning should go away. Let's see. So this will also show changing the JDK of a specific project. So we saw up here window preferences. You can change the JDK, the default JDK for a brand new project that you start with in this workspace. That's what it'll wake up as. But the existing projects you have over here, say I had, let's suppose this was an older workspace and I had 10 projects already created in it with JDK 12 in it. That won't change. Only new projects will get the default setting. But an existing project can be changed. A little bit tricky. Here, properties and Java build path here. Libraries. And here I want to edit this library and I'm going to put it back to version 8. So I have installed JREs. Now here I get the same dialog. So this is the global setting for the installed JREs. This is where I tell Eclipse where I have my JDKs installed. So I'll add one because it only knows about 11 and 12 as we saw. So I want to tell it about JDK 8 as I also have installed on this system. And it recognizes it. Of course, it leaves the, we want to leave the default setting to 11 here, but we've now taught it about in the JDK. Apply and close. And now over in here, I installed JREs. Pardon me, I'm going to use alternate JRE. Pull down this list, and now it knows about 8. Hit finish. One other thing to change, the Java compiler settings as well. Sometimes that'll change. Sometimes it won't. So I need to also change the compiler settings here. So the build path, that's the libraries it uses. So the jars and the libraries that come with the JDK, we taught it about that. Now we're teaching it. We want to also use the Java 1.8 compiler. Build the project since I've changed the compiler level, and we can see. Notice the deprecated warning goes away because that deprecated warning started in version 9. So we've seen a little bit about how you can install multiple JDKs in the Java runtime system and then configure Eclipse both from a global setting, that is, what do you prefer for a new project, and also changing the build environment for a specific project. Thank you.